YouTube and welcome to one of the first videos by DeathTube. So today we're going to be doing a film review, and that film has been dominating the internet over the past few days. And no, that film is not Civil War, it's not Batman v Superman, it is X-Men Apocalypse.
Everything they built will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one! I've never felt power like this before.
X-Men Apocalypse. It's a film which I was so honoured to be invited to the premiere of, and I cannot thank Bryan Singer enough and 20th Century Fox for just giving me an invite and allowing me to do this video. Now, thankfully, I did not have to sign an embargo, which means I can do all the spoilers I like. But before I get any further, I would like to say this video will be non-spoiler, which means I will not be giving any spoilers, but I will be doing a spoiler video probably on the 16th of May, so please check out my channel for that date. So, hello, review of X-Men Apocalypse. So I was so lucky to see the premiere of the film. Obviously I met some of the cast, and in fact it was so lucky that the film was in IMAX 3D. Though I wouldn't say you should go and see this in IMAX 3D unless you want to really enhance this experience. But it doesn't. But I couldn't remember it having any IMAX scenes, so there's not really much point unless you just want to, see it in IMAX. I mean, IMAX is great, but you might not want to. So the film gets off to a great start. We get introduced to Apocalypse. We get his origin. We get his origin-ish. We see where he comes from, why he has to do this, what happened to him in the past. Then we get reintroduced to some of our old cast. And it's basically the first half hour is about getting the band together, as in the X-Men band. Including Moira McTaggart, who's in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. So once Charles gets his band of X-Men together, we then see Apocalypse assemble his own team. We then see the Four Horsemen have their little origins before they get recruited by Apocalypse. Now I've got to say, Magneto has another origin. I don't really think he needed another origin. He's had like 2 already, and then he's been made the villain of a mainstream X-Men film, and it's getting kind of annoying because now this film hasn't grasped what the other two had. I'm gonna say the format of this film has really changed. I noticed it, and I could barely see this as a recognizable X-Men film. If I couldn't recognize the cast, or there wasn't a title, I wouldn't know this was an X-Men film because it does not feel like one. I mean, Days of Future Past, that didn't really have this, the same style of plot. It was kind of time travel stuff, yet it felt like an X-Men film. This has more fantasy, more, the Mummy theme to it, but it doesn't feel like an X-Men film, and that's where I think this film really troubled me. I'm not going to say that was bad, but it troubled me. Now the story is great. I honestly don't see any problems with the story, but there's something in the film that just wasn't right. Now Apocalypse, people have been complaining about his look and, his style. And I've got to say, yes, his look isn't comic accurate, but I'm not sure that's what they're trying to go for here. I don't exactly know what they wanted, but whether it was just to save cost or they wanted him more humanized, which actually did show it in the character during one of his speeches, but it could be for any reason. Maybe studio interference, anything. We really don't know. Now Apocalypse himself has some kind of horror kind of mythical beast element to him, but he also has this human taste. In one of his speeches, when, I'm not going to give the spoiler away, but when he's conferring with Magneto, he's trying to get him to, join the cause, he gives off this horror vibe. He gives off like this horror father vibe, like kind of like the Luke Skywalker Darth Vader thing, his father's a monster, essentially. But then in his speech during a certain point in the film, which I'm not going to spoil, but it's the scene in the trailer where all the rockets go up and stuff. He gives off an amazing speech. When I say he gives off an amazing speech, I just suddenly thought it's parallel to the X-Men The Last Stand speech where Maggie's like, your schools will not be safe. Your schools will not be safe. Your shops will not be safe. And it's kind of the same with Apocalypse, except he's not threatening. He's literally doing it as he's saying. He's saying it as he's doing it, and that's what I think made it more humanized as well as the actual, which made it a lot better than the Magneto speech. As long as the kind of opera music, and it's kind of the same like in a Star Wars Force Awakens trailer. We see Kylo Ren staring out the beam, Starkiller beam going past, and there's that kind of violin music, and that's what happens here. And he's like talking. It's the same with Apocalypse. It's kind of emotional in a way. I mean, the music doesn't really match, the sadness, but his voice makes it kind of horrible. And I liked his voice, by the way. It wasn't. Well, I hoped it would be. I hoped it would be like kind of unstable, kind of decaying. Like it was in one of the other trailers. It was in one of the other trailers, and we see like everything they've built will fall or something like that. Sorry for the terrible interpretation there, but I hoped we'd get something like that. We'd get something that keeps changing for the many lives he's had, and that's that's just probably me. But still, you might have felt that, you might not. I do not judge you at all. So he's just going through a list of stuff that he doesn't want. He's like going, no more weapons, no more false gods. Like this really cool bit. I kind of like it's kind of no more superpowers. Except I don't really get that because they kind of already do have super. He's literally saying he was saying he's gonna wipe out the humans and leave the mutants. All mutants basically have superpowers. I don't know whether he meant superpowers over what the mutants already have, or I did not get it. I did not understand it, but it was still a really cool moment. Now there are some really cool bits in the scene. There's one scene between Apocalypse and Magneto, which I really, really, really loved. It's so good. I'm not even going to say anything about it. I have to say something. It's not a spoiler. It's like he's kind of showing him one of his weaknesses and using that place as a venue to grow his power, to make him almost unstoppable, and that's what really got me there. I didn't cry or anything, but I mean, it's a really cool part of the film, one of the best parts. It's in a trailer, but you think it's Apocalypse doing all the destruction and that, but no, it is Magneto. I'm not going to spoil which bits of the destruction he's doing, and he's literally, in the film, he literally does what I wanted him to do so long, literally pull the elements out of the ground, the iron in the ground, the nickel in the ground, every metal that's in the ground, he pulls it out. Though I was kind of hoping that they'd also eventually do something in the future where, they pull the metal, the tiny, tiny traces of metal from their blood, like the stuff in mineral water and all that, and you obviously have it in your blood as well. I was hoping that you'd eventually just pull that out. It'd be so cool, they just like explode in blood. No? Okay, now this film also reboots X-Men Origins Wolverine in this way, in like a 10-15 minute sequence, and I've got to say it is so awesome. I think whoever made this sequence, what they're trying to do, we all know Wolverine's in this, by the way, and we all know he attacks those guards because there's that scene in the last trailer where it's like, we had some help. And I've got to say, that sequence where he just gets all that claw, gives those guys the claw. Oh my god, that is just the best. That's the best Wolverine action sequence on film, live action Fox film, and it's just so awesome. I think, obviously we couldn't see exactly what he was doing, but we saw all the blood on the walls, all the blood on the floor. And I've got to say, I think this is confirmation that we are going to get an R-rated Wolverine movie. I think it is. I don't know exactly. probably won't. They're probably just seeing the boundaries they can do with the violence. In the PG-13, I don't know whether this will be in the PG-13 cut, because when I saw the film, it said that this film had not been rated yet. So I don't know whether they're going to have all that, because the Avengers was originally rated R for having too much blood. I don't know. This probably will. I don't know. But I've got to say that must be confirmation that we're getting an R-rated Wolverine film. I just really hope that that's what it means. But otherwise, it's still really cool, really cool action sequence, and you're gonna love it. Now, when we see Wolverine for the first time, he comes out in a way that you don't expect it. He's like wearing a costume. I'm not going to spoil which costume, but I recognised it immediately from Wolverine and the X-Men, the animated series. I remember it's just one episode where he's like massive, kind of, I think it's grey hair or just crazy hair. He's got this massive thing on his head. It's just wires everywhere. I assume it's a variation of that. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what it reminded me of. He's like all mad and stuff. This is kind of the same. It looks like it because Jean like convinced him to take it off, and then he's fine after that. So I'm assuming that's what it is, because when he did have that on, he just went wild. Yeah, and they said he was an animal, but when he doesn't, he's not always that brutal. I'm gonna make one reference to the film. This is not a spoiler. This is literally one line, which is kind of a joke, which is nothing to do with the film at all, which is not a spoiler. If you don't want this one line, that's not going to affect the film at all. At all. You can leave now and come back in like 10 seconds. Don't leave the video. Don't you dare. So, Jean, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler, I think, and Jubilee, I'm not sure, can't remember. They all go to cinema, and they come out of Return of the Jedi, and then Cyclops and I think Jubilee was there. Cyclops and Jubilee are arguing whether Empire or The New Hope, but it was Star Wars then. If they're actually no, it was A New Hope, because they re-released it with changes and stuff. Thanks, Lucas. And when they're arguing, Jean comes out and she's like, well, at least we can all agree the third one's the worst. And I've got to say, that's true for X-Men The Last Stand, and this is also true for X-Men Apocalypse. There's one scene in the film, it's really hard to say, but when they come back, something bad happened, and when those 4 get back, something really bad's happened. But Apocalypse has this kind of plan. It's kind of cool, but I just wanted him to just destroy more things. And in a way, Apocalypse is, how do I say this without spoiling it? It's not really a spoiler, but this is with every film. But the way Apocalypse is subdued is kind of good, but I didn't like how it was subdued. Then the thing that subdued Apocalypse and just went back. I wish that became a problem in itself, and I wish Apocalypse might have been destroyed a bit earlier. Or maybe he could have made a much bigger villain and pushed a bit further. Oh! And the last fight wasn't fab. Gotta be said. And the 4 Horsemen didn't get much talking. Apart from Magneto, obviously. Magneto's so good. But again, they're fighting Magneto, then they have to get him to change his mind or something about stopping the killing the world. And then for some reason, Storm does this. Angel does this. Well, I think. Can't remember, but it's just really annoying. I like Psylocke though. I like how her last bit in the film. I'm not going to spoil it because I'm nice, even though I can spoil it. I could just shout out spoiler, I could just shout out a spoiler in this video and nothing could happen because I never signed an embargo because I didn't need to. But I could just shout out Han Solo dies. But something about related to this film. Kylo Ren is Han Solo's son. Kylo Ren kills Han Solo. Thank you, Louis Cooper, for spoiling that the day the film came out. But I've got to say, we get a really awesome Quicksilver scene. I'm sorry, I'm jumping from the front to the back to the middle to the middle and back to the front and from the middle, front and middle. I'm sorry about that. I'm juggling, but Quicksilver gets a much awesomer scene than the last one, and it's really good. It's got a bit more funny. Yeah, it gets it right. It's right there. It's at the top. Except something bad happens. I didn't say anything. Oh, I really want to spoil. I really just want to spoil it. I can't just spoil it. Like, you see, I could have spoiled that film. Any moment in this video, you would never have known I would have spoiled it. And you would be stuck with a spoiler for the rest of your life. That's right. I'll just spoil that film for you. But why didn't I? Because I'm nice? Yeah. Because I'm nice? Yeah. Because I'm nice? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, exactly, because I am nice. And I think the least you can do is subscribe. Yeah, all that niceness really wears off. It really wears you out, which means I think the least you should do is subscribe. Please. And I mean, you could like the video as well, and comment, and share. But the least you can do is subscribe. You kind of have to do that now. You can't just leave this video without subscribing, because I could have spoiled X-Men Apocalypse for you, and I doubt most of you have seen it. Because I went to the bloody premiere. That's right, the premiere. That's right, the premiere. So anyway, I'm just going to say, the first half of the film is very good. Excellent, in fact. It's almost perfect. Then after that, when Apocalypse starts recruiting, gets a bit rushed. I don't know whether they were trying to make it like Apocalypse is this great being. He can just get anyone he wants as fast as he wants. But I just think they should have left it a bit, and they should have actually developed the other countries, the other characters a bit more. The Four Horsemen, because Magneto basically gets all of the time for origin, and Angel barely gets any. Psylocke doesn't get any, and Storm doesn't really get any. Just takes something and then almost gets caught. Doesn't have an origin, just useless. Apocalypse says that in the film. Spoiler. That's for all of you who didn't subscribe. And overall, the back half of the film is a little bit rushed. A little bit, I don't know, but I'm just going to say right here, right now, that I'm going to give this film, I'm going to give this, out of 5, I'm going to give this a 1, 2, a 3, and a full 2. I'm going to give this 3.5. That's right. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. X-Men fans will love this film. Go and see it if you're an X-Men fan. Go and see it if you're a Mummy fan. You know, the Mummy series that failed, because it's kind of like that actually. You know, we actually get some ancient Egypt at the start, which that scene's so good, so good. And I'd recommend seeing this film in 2D or IMAX 2D. I would not recommend seeing this film in IMAX 3D. I'm not going to say it's bad in IMAX 3D, but I just think it's going a bit too much for your money because you're always complaining that I say IMAX 3D a bit too much. But you can see it in IMAX 3D if you like. It's still great. It's just no IMAX scenes. You can see it in 3D if you like. I was thinking about recommending that, but then I know 3D. I remember 3D is terrible. You know, real deep 3D. I don't know about digital. I'm not sure if I've ever tried digital. I don't even know what digital 3D actually is, to be honest. But I'm not gonna say it's bad. But you know, I don't really know. But yeah, go see this film. 2D, 3D, IMAX 2D, IMAX 3D. I don't really care. Just to see the film soon, I'm gonna do a spoiler video, hopefully on May 16th. Thank you so much for watching. I am developing this YouTube channel. I know my other one's more popular. You might not really care about film reviews so much. But you know, I've got 42,000 on the other one. Why can't I do the same here? Thank you so much for watching, and DeathTube out.